Hello everyone! Today we are going to tell you the story of Epsilon, our footwear company whose existence was nothing but a roller coaster. First of all, let's have an overview of the market. We are present in the 4 continents: North America, Europe and Africa, Latin America, and Asia Pacific. There are 3 distribution channels: wholesale to independent footwear retailers, online sales through the company's websites, and private label sales to other retailers. In this industry, there are 9 competitors whose future strategy and positioning are unknown. In terms of market, we know that the demand is increasing over the coming years at a slightly greater rate in Asia and Latin America. During the business games, most companies chose the mass market and produced a lot of models at a reduced price. These companies capture the biggest market shares. This is why we decided to do the opposite.
Our strategy was simple. We wanted to differentiate ourselves right away from the other competitors by offering a good quality product with a high price and thus tend to a luxury product. Of course, it implied that we had to set higher than average prices and reduce the number of models in order to invest in the top quality of the product. The aim of this strategy was to enable profit by minimizing the risk and building a solid system that could face any looming challenge of the footwear industry. Let's start by the end. What are the outcomes of our game? What have been our strengths and weaknesses? First of all, and despite all the difficulties we faced, the company proved its adaptability, flexibility, and reactivity to give the best response possible to all the challenges faced. Indeed, the strategy's resilience enabled the company to bounce back after a significant decline. Moreover, our financial results have always been positive and we kept a strong market positioning with only one direct competitor. However, we faced the lack of funds to invest at the very beginning of the game, a declining image because of our debt, and high production costs that ruined the net operating margins regardless of the high prices.
So here's the picture. We are a company with a logical strategy, plenty of assets, and a lot of determination. What could possibly go wrong? Our biggest mistake was our eagerness. Of course, some investments are needed when launching a new company, but we positioned ourselves as Louboutin before even gaining market shares. While making our predictions for year 11, we increased the production to satisfy the demand, we rose the training/incentive costs to boost the productivity and reduce the reject rate, invested in marketing to attract new customers, and even expanded the corporate citizenship-related costs. Consequently, we rose our prices to cover these expenses and to send a, I quote, quality luxury signal to our customers. But building a brand image is impossible without building loyalty with our customers first. The prices were too high and reduced the demand, therefore we were overproducing. The marketing, administrative, and labor costs resulted in a negative ending cash, which automatically made the program incur a 1-year debt. And this is how the downward circle began. Indeed, this debt lowered our financial performance, while our excessive prices prevented us from having our share on the market. Therefore, year 13 has been disastrous. It was impossible for us to invest in facilities, training, or marketing since we absolutely needed cash to cover our debt. Unfortunately, we made the second mistake. We decided to keep our competitive strategy without even being on the competition tracks. So we kept spending money on marketing, training, partnership, and so on and so forth, without even lowering our prices, in order to keep our high standard image. This is why we gathered on year 14 with the strong intention to change things. We were still cherishing our top of the market strategy, but we had to acknowledge that it was impossible to bend the curve within these years. Therefore, we designed a strategy on the long run, which would ensure that we produce qualitative products while giving us time to recover. We lowered the labor cost and slowed down our manufacturing expenses. We also borrowed money from the bank to invest in marketing, partnership, and to achieve a good SQ rating. Finally, we evened our prices to retain customers while keeping good margins to refill our ending cash. Our current goal is to reach our qualitative brand image in the long run while building a financially viable company in the short run. Our results for year 15 and 16 show that we are still far behind the others, but when we look at the bright side, we can see that the ROE, EPS, and stock price significantly increased, which makes us optimistic regarding the future.
Despite this intense and sometimes stressful week, it was really interesting managing experience. Indeed, the situation was unusual because of the COVID crisis, and we did everything but the Messenger's application and daily callings at 2 p.m. The biggest and most time-consuming challenge was to reach an agreement, since our point of view could be sometimes very different. This decision-making process was undoubtedly difficult since changing one parameter had a major impact on many others. The business game and the lecture have been really intense because of the online process, meetings and rhythm, but it put us in the shoe of business people and enabled us to discover the complicated choices they regularly have to make. If you could draw a lesson from this, it would be this one. The worst thing to do is to trick the algorithm and change your strategy in order to boost the figures. If you are confident in your ideas, stick to them.